The prestige left us all puzzled in the ending scenes, and still it is not clear whether Mr. Angier was actually the original Mr. Angier or a copy that was killed by Mr. Bordon in the final scene. Or, no, not in the final scene, but in the end. I tried looking at online whether people thought he was the original or a copy, and people generally don't really care because every one of Mr. Angier's copies thinks they are the original, and I do not think that is true, and I do not think that it doesn't matter. Therefore, I created a little PowerPoint because I'm absolutely terrible at animating. And I created two scenarios. So one is a scenario in which the machine that is used, Tesla's machine, copies and moves the copy like this. So the original stays in the machine and the copy indicated by a 1 on his chest is outside of the machine. So that's scenario one, the white scenario. And the purple scenario is it copies, but it moves the original. So the copy indicated by a 1 on his chest is still in the machine and it moves the original. So what happens in the film are actually these two things. If the copy moves, then the original Mr. Angier takes a revolver and shoots the copy. These are the only two things that happen in the film. And what I think that Mr. Angier does is come up with a plan to use this on stage. However, he cannot risk having all these copies running around or escaping, so he needs to kill the copy instantly after the trick is done. So that's why he invents the trapdoor and the tank of water. Now, he himself is obviously not going into the machine, so he creates another copy, which he tends to use to go into the machine and which he kills in the tank. His plan is that if the new copy is created, then he will capture the copy instantly to get him exactly in this way, to get him to go upstage and repeat the process. Now, Mr. Angier obviously thinks he is the original, because he is. However, this copy that is alive does find out something, because the copy thinks or thought that he was the original, because he was there and now he's transported. This creates a problem because now he thinks that the machine creates a copy, but the copy stays in the machine and the original gets transported like this. So he thinks he was created in the machine and he killed Mr. Angier, the original, but now, instead of reappearing in the machine, a copy appears in the machine. And now Angier 1 thinks that he's made a mistake because he left the revolver at the machine, obviously, and he thinks that the second copy is forcing him on stage. In fact, that's not true, because the first copy is forced on stage not by the second copy, but by Mr. Angier himself. Now, the first copy, why does the first copy not just run away? Because either he can choose to get killed by the tank of water, or he can get killed by Mr. Angier shooting him. That is because he believes that the machine teleports the original, or the one that got in the machine. So as long as he is on the stage, he gets teleported and not killed. So that's why he just goes on the stage and gets into the machine. However, he gets killed anyway, because it was not what he expected. What Mr. Angier does then is he captures the second copy instantly, and he himself reappears in the crowd as the transported man. Now, he keeps on doing this. He is the third person, actually, so he creates a copy which dies, he kills the original and he creates a copy which he then kills, and that creates a copy, and this goes on and on and on and on and on. Now, one day, Mr. Angier spots Bordon. So he thinks, well, this is my chance. This is what I've been waiting for. Bordon will find the dead copy, and I will not reappear, obviously, as I did before, because now I've got to lay low. If anybody ever finds out that I'm alive, Bordon will be set free. So he lays low. What he does is he kills the copy because he doesn't need it anymore, and then Bordon escapes. And Bordon kills the original Angier. That's scenario 1. If the copy moves, then it was the original Angier that got killed by Bordon. However, we are not certain if this is the case. It may be that the original moves. So what happens here, as I explained a little bit earlier, the original moves and is instantly shot by the copy. So, as a matter of fact, the original is already dead. So, in the second scenario, the original Mr. Angier will never be shot by Bordon, except for in the first part of the film. The copy obviously thinks he's the original, and he thinks, well, I'm not going to go in the tank myself, so I will create another copy. So he thinks, I'm going to create a copy just like this. However, he then finds himself at the other end of the gun. And now he realizes he's made a mistake. He realizes he is the first copy and that he actually shot the original Mr. Angier. But now there's nothing to do about this because the gun is in the hands of the second copy. And the second copy naturally thinks that he's still the original Mr. Angier. So what the second copy does is he forces the first copy on stage, and the first copy gets killed, he thinks. However, the first copy naturally obliges because the first copy knows that he has been transported to the other side of the stage, and even though it's at gunpoint, he's still alive. And actually there was a second copy created which is now dead. So the first copy is still alive. And this goes on and on and on and on and on. So every time the second copy who thinks he's the original forces the first one to die on stage because he thinks he's killing copies of copies of copies of copies, while in fact, again and again, the first copy is transported on the other side of the stage. This gives the first copy a lot of time to come up with a plan to kill Angier 2. Because Angier 1 thinks, well, at some point Angier 2 will not need me anymore and he will just kill me. So this creates two possibilities. Either Angier 1 manages to kill Angier 2 in a moment where Angier 2 wasn't looking, and Angier 1 got a revolver or he got a friend that killed him anyway. It is possible that 1 killed number 2. So scenario 2A is Angier 2 is killed. Well, this is actually a really elegant solution because now there is not a third man needed, because 1 will just create a copy which dies and he will appear in the crowd. So this is a nice solution. If this would have been the case, that would have been great. It would not pose many threats to Revelation. However, so that is Angier 1 stays alive, and in the end, obviously, Bordon will kill Angier 1. So if Angier 1 managed to kill Angier 2, and the original moves, then Bordon shoots Angier 1. However, there is also scenario 2B where Angier 2 is not killed. Then Angier 1 and Angier 2 will keep on cycling until on a day Angier 2 spots Bordon and he lays low. And he thinks, obviously, well, now I must not be sighted anymore. Bordon is captured, so I can kill my copy. This way, the first copy gets killed, and the second copy lives until Bordon shoots Angier too. In conclusion, if the machine moves the copy, then the original Angier will be killed if he did everything right. And if the machine moves the original, then either the first or the second copy of Mr. Angier will be killed by Bordon. To my knowledge, I am the first one to actually think of this, and I'm really interested if any other people have other explanations or other ideas. Let me know. Thank you so much for watching.